4 times 3 on the bottom, and then h squared times h is h cubed. Take the derivative of that, bring the 3 down. 3/12 is the same as 1/4. H squared times h prime. And then from here, you have negative 10 there. You have the h, and you can solve for h prime. When you guys finish that up, I want you guys to take out your those free response questions. So I'm going to go through the scoring rubrics with you guys. Start with the right in order, the 2010 one first. Okay, 2010, what parts did we do? B and C, that's right. Okay, so we started this on that Friday. Part B. Again, you're going to have an inflection point when what happens? More specifically? Yes, yeah, because a lot of different things can happen. But what you need is that changing concavity, which could be when the the second derivative equals 0. But then you have to see, does it go from positive to negative? And what graph were we looking at here? What graph was this? Yeah. So what are we looking at on a g prime graph to figure out the sign of the second derivative? How do you figure out the sign being positive or negative of the second derivative from a first derivative? Exactly. So it's when this thing is increasing or decreasing. So do we see that change in right here? Do you see the 0? It goes increasing. This is all increasing. Here it changes. And you're right, the derivative of this would be equal to 0. But check this out. This one also changes. You know what I'm saying? This one also changes. And these derivatives are undefined. Those are corners. Okay? Does that make sense, you guys? So be careful of that. It's all 3 of those points. You have a change in concavity. So for identifying those 3 points, you get a point. Again, the same as an entire multiple choice question. And then, here you go, the explanation. And look, the only explanation is that it's the g prime, exactly like you said, the g prime changes from increasing to decreasing, or you could say that the second derivative changes from positive to negative at those 2 points, and g prime changes from decreasing to increasing at 2. You need those words. You see the calculus words, you guys? Yeah.
Is it valid to say that the second derivative changes sign?
Yeah. And then if you even be more specific, they would like that even more. You know what I'm saying? Like, what does it change from what to what? Yeah. So that's where it gets. There's a whole bunch of subtleties with that. I would say, from looking at that, you don't get it. You know what I'm saying? I would say that you would not get the first one, and then if you explain your 2 correctly, you would get the second one. I would say. But again, what they do is, so here's their overall, and then what you don't see is like there's 70 different examples. Because of all 200,000 people that take it, there's all these subtle differences, you know? And it's like, okay, who gets the point and who doesn't, you know? So that's what I would say. Because then you just understand that, like the explanation would be you understand, you just missed one of the points. You know what I'm saying? So I would give you not 1 for that part. Okay? And then C. So C was talking about you got some weird functions, it's part of g of x and then it's this thing, okay? Now, what the heck is this thing all about? You know what I'm saying? And this is what we were talking about a little bit on Friday. But check this out. It says, the first thing it says is find the x-coordinate of each critical point. What are you thinking as soon as it says critical point? Derivative equals 0. And check this out. How they scored it, you know what I'm saying? If you just did this, you know, you're already earning points. You know what I'm saying? Actually solving, getting the answers, if you're like, cuckoo, you know, it's like, I don't know. But just for the setup, you got yourself a point. I think the mean, I forgot to bring up the scores. I think the average for this problem was like less than a 2 out of 9 points. And that doesn't include, for statistic purpose, they don't include the people that write, why so serious? And just move on. It doesn't even include those. And the mean was like 2, it was like right around 2, you know what I'm saying? So, and these are out of 9, just so you know. You know what I'm saying, guys? So, again, what you have to do is beat the average. You know, you just have to get points. Yes?
What if you don't do the first step, but you get it right? Do they,
Like, specifically this one, what do you mean?
If you don't write down each time of it.
You don't get that point, you'll get these though. You know, that's why it's so important when I say, like, you know, the pronouns and write it down. Like, write it down. You know what I'm saying, you guys? Write down why. As soon as you see critical point, you should just be saying, set some derivative equal to 0. If they see that, they understand it isn't a fluke. You know what I'm saying, Amina? They understand you knew exactly what to do. It said critical point, you took some derivative, Jackie B, go get some water and set it equal to 0. Okay? Not Gatorade, remember, don't drink that in class. Alright? And then this part here. So then you got your 2 points. And do you guys remember talking about this on Friday? The 3 was obvious, but it was that, you know, what happens is when this function, g prime is equal to the x line. And then there was a whole bunch of solving within that. And this part C was worth 4 points. We did C, correct? Yeah. So it was 1 point here, 1 point here, and then for each of these, so even if you didn't do the radical 2, what you would get, if you did everything with 3 being the answer, you would get 2 out of the 4 points. You know what I'm saying? Because you wouldn't get this, because you didn't get both. You wouldn't get this one, but at least you got these 2. You know what I'm saying? If you said something with h prime equal to 0, or you solve for it, and then you saw the 3 point, and if you just missed that weird radical 2, at least you got the 2 points. Okay, cool? Alright, next one was 2003, number 4. And again, you guys, look at the number of the problem, and that should determine if you're using or not using a calculator. 1 through 3 is yes, calculator. 4, 5, and 6, no calculator. You have to do it all by hand, because that's what you're going to be doing on the test. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these tricks, and what was this, number 4? Yeah, this is a good one, or just builds up your skills by hand if you're taking the time to do it. What do we do? A, B, and C. So you got some particle, great, and you're given some velocity function. It says, 1, find the acceleration. What are you thinking? Take the derivative of velocity. So doing that, look, and you get it correct, you get a point. If you take the derivative correctly, just doing that, bam, that's a point. Writing it out. And now check this out. This is what's so fun about this. And it says at time t equals 3. So that, I mean, you don't need to know what that number is by hand. You know what I'm saying? This is a number. Negative e to the negative 2. Then you went 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Now what you should be able to start working out is, roughly, where is that number? Is that like 100? Is that like negative 80? Like, where is this number roughly? Can anyone give me just a guesstimate? Roughly what it is? Around? But that's a skill that you need. Estella, what would you guess? Let's start here. What's e to the negative 2? What does that mean? What does the negative exponent mean?